Let's see. Welcome back to Lenz's Comic Corner Classic Less Known Classics. This is episode number 1969 and Doubleshot number 1863. Now this one basically discussing issues from two different series. First up it is, if I get this to stop here, thank you. Wait, please, thank you. Okay. Alright, first we're discussing issues 163 to 174 of Thunderbolts. Yeah, 12 straight issues, but basically this is just quick multipliers. First up we have issue 163. Now, I should put on in these issues, Thunderbolts have basically now. First, we have the issues that are part of the Great Escape storyline, which took issues, I think it was like 169, I think it was. I think it went to like 169. Just let me be sure about that. Okay, here we go. Great Escape, which definitely was 163 to 168. Yeah, these are a series of quick two-parters. Now, Thunderbolts are traveling through time. Yes, they are traveling through time. For issues 163 to 164, they first go back in time to World War II. Yep, where they meet up with the invaders. Yeah, they also run into the father of their former leader, Baron Zemo, where you have Moonstone who meets them. It's like, hey, I want you to I'm like he threatens like I want to make a deal with you. I want you to have a son. You're like, I can do that. Name Hannibal. Like, huh? And also, don't teach me Nazi ways, but you can keep all nobility and spirit stuff, but don't teach me Nazi stuff. He's like, okay, okay. I thought that was kind of interesting to say the least. And by the way, you actually have where Moonstone just all everybody appears with the exception of Mr. Hyde. And in front of us as the American Thunderbolts. Yes. So after this two-parter, like, they go back in time even further to, like, that way for 160.1, which is also for this era. It's mostly put basically, it's one of two issues set in present day, because Luke Cage is basically just doing his own thing with Thunderbolts. So you have the kind of the ghost here, but he goes back in time anyways with Thunderbolts. It's mostly just Luke Cage, Songbird, Ghost, Mach, I think it's Mach 8, Mach 7, I think it is, along with, they just basically do some exploration stuff in present day. It's not really, like, it's a good amount of stuff here per se, but not really a lot. For issues 160, okay, actually, it doesn't wrap up 165, it actually wraps up, it was 163, it was 64, 65 where it wraps up. Yeah, for 166 and 160, this actually is two-parter, where they go back in time to the time of Jack the Frickin' Ripper and Mr. Hyde posing as Jack the Ripper. Yeah, where they kind of separate their own. It's kind of odd to say the least. Yeah, and after this, now this only lasts just for a couple issues. Yeah, of them basically going to like London just for 2 straight issues. And then you have 168, which is all about Luke Cage in present day. This actually is the issue where you have, go with this, go with the past. Now, 169 and 170, this is a very interesting two-parter because they go back in time to the time of King Arthur. Yes, seriously. They're here for 2 issues, and it's really good. It's really awesome to say the least. I love it. But as for the final, now they do wrap up the story, I think by, it comes to Euro Thunderbolts, I think 171, I think it's a story in present day, I think it is. Yeah, it's a story in present day where we have Songbird on vacation. You have her in a very, get rid of that thing, thank you. We have her in a beautiful bikini. And most, but basically, she fights an enemy of Namor. Plus, we have a cool reference here to Doctor No with her coming out of the water, where look, we're in the white bikini with the knife. Yeah, that's a clear nod to Doctor No, which is really good here. For some reason, this guy who kidnaps her, she's a part of her head, and yeah, and he turns this guy. His name is Dorkless, the guy who created Tiger Shark and only with Namor. Yeah, he was killed by Namor. It's a quick sailing issue, and doesn't lead much of anything, but then we lead into 172. Yes, 172. Now, at the end of 170, we have Thunderbolts lead medieval times. They have to go back to present day. And then, here's the strange thing. They end up on the very day where the Thunderbolts make their public debut. Back in 1997. No, seriously. They go back to this point in time. Yeah, they apparently just showed up here. And by the way, this last story is called Like Lightning, which is a nod to their old motto from basically when they started the series, called Like Lightning. So, they enter the tower, and they run into the Thunderbolts. Of course, the Fixer's there. Well, a future version of Fixer from the present day. He is there, along with Moonstone. Yep. We also have two versions of Boomerang. First, we have Boomerang in his classic attire, who, by the way, does not run into his future counterparts, for reasons. And, of course, they run into them, and, of course, they kind of details about them, they know about them in the future. Yeah, and, of course, it was, and, of course, you have this whole thing of, like, Moonstone fighting Meteorite, basically, past for herself. And this is something, though. You have Meteorite being grabbed by her future counterparts, and you probably think about this panel, and you're like, wow, two Carla Softons. Are they going to kiss next issue? Nope. They are that close to each other. It's almost like the writer probably wanted these two to kiss. But like, nah, let's not have that happen to a beautiful like Carla Softon. A woman who at one point was basically, get this, in the Dark Avengers Files book, Victoria Hand was basically had this thing where she had this urge to have sex with her. Yes, Victoria Hand, the right-hand woman Norman Osborn, during the time of Norman Osborn's Dark Reign, really wanted to have sex with Carla Softon. All because she's hot. And the fact Victoria Hand's a lesbian. And we have this wonderful bit here. We have Baron Zemo like putting his hand on the butt of Meteorite. And then you have apparently future Moonstone put her hand between Meteorite and Baron Zemo. And based upon basically where he positioned, you could say, oh, basically Moonstone was touching her own groin. Well, a past version of herself. Yeah, it's a very weird pose they put on issue 173. But yeah, they fight each other. We have this really cute bit here. We have Fixer getting kissed by the beautiful Santana. Yeah, and Troll is here, who has lost a lot of clothing. Yeah, basically, that's her thing. She's. Then we have this guy here, who knows all about the whole thing with Zemo. And, well, and then during the end of basically issue 173, after explaining the whole stuff, comparing notes, and of course they mentioned they formed just after, here's Onslaught for you. Remember this guy? The guy who basically caused death to the Fantastic Four and Avengers, like, on page, behind the scenes, basically, with Rob Liefeld, Jeff Loeb, and James Robinson, basically rebooted Avengers, Fantastic Four, Captain America, and Iron Man. So, then, of course, we have Celebration Thunderbolts, and then apparently Fixer and Past and Future get disagreeing with each other, and then Future Fixer kills his past counterpart. Yeah, he murders him. And you're like, oh crap, they need to preserve the timeline. So the best way to resolve this is basically have something they picked up from the Dr. Mr. They picked up from the whole thing with Jack the Ripper stuff, where wipe all the most memories of the past 6 hours. And as for Fixer, have him de-age, like, let's say a few years, most like 20 years, and have him grow all his hair back that he shaved off, and have him, and also put him in the very outfit his past was. And this book here was the last time we saw Fixer for, get this, you're going to love this much for you. Because it is quite interesting, to say the least. Because in the case of this very issue, this will be the last Fixer we've seen for 4 years. Yeah. 4 years. He wasn't seen again until the events of Pleasant Hill, which came back in 2016. That was the next time he was seen. But you might think, okay, what about the rest of it? Moonstone stuck around and came back to the present and became part of Dark Avengers. But let's talk about the other characters. Mr. Hyde, still around to this very day. Yeah, he's still very much around. He was part of Ravencroft, but he's since been released. Actually, more like he escaped. But his most recent appearance, it was actually in an Infinity comic, Strange Tales, Thor and Jane Foster. But after the series wrapped up, after the final issue, of course, he apparently was stuck on for Dark Avengers. After that wrapped up, he appeared in a couple issues of Superior Force of Spider-Man Infinity Heist. He was practically the main villain of the all-new Ghost Rider series. Appears with S.H.I.E.L.D., where he interacts with his daughter, Daisy Johnson, aka Quake. Takes part in Assault Pleasant Hill. Small role in that. Became part of the Secret Warriors book. Basically making sporadic appearances over the years. But yeah, that was the most recent appearance save for Calvin Zabo, aka Mr. Hyde. Troll. A character created by Jeff Parker for this run. And you might be curious though, does she return after these issues? Well, she apparently is part of Dark Avengers stuff. Like after Dark Avengers, which I'll get to when I get a chance in the trades, she later popped up in 2 issues of Superior Force of Spider-Man and the final arc of Kieran Gillian's Young Avengers run, and that was it. By the way, the last issue that came out for Young Avengers, that came out in 2014. So, Troll herself has not been seen in a comic book since, you're going to love this, since 2014. So, she's not been seen in 8 years for her. Boomerang, currently deceased. Yeah, he's the only one who's actually currently no longer alive. Centaurus, who actually is a very smart guy here. Here's kind of the odd thing about this guy. Like, you probably think, okay, did he do anything after this book wrapped up? Well, he became part of Dark Avengers. He was part of a couple issues of Power Iron Fist. He was part of a couple issues of Iron Man. And he appeared in a few issues of Invincible Iron Man. His last appearance was actually back in Invincible Iron Man 600. And that was about 4 years ago. Yeah. So, unlike Troll, who has made an appearance in 8 years, Centaur has made an appearance in about 4 years. Yeah, not in 4 years. Ghost himself, he still appears. Yeah, he still actually appears. Yeah, after this run wrapped up, of course, like I say, Thunderbolts, appeared in some issues missing Spider-Man, appeared by Punisher. His most recent appearance was actually Avengers Unlimited, Infinity Comic number 4. Yeah, that was his most recent appearance today. It was Nick Fury Jr. Okay. Now, what about the other members of Thunderbolts? Satana. Did she become part of the Dark Avenger stuff? Excuse me. Yes. After that this book concluded, she next appeared on pages of X Factor. Yeah, period day picked up, put an X Factor. A couple of issues for Spider-Man, some issue of Daredevil, Doctor Strange, Spirit of Vengeance miniseries, West Coast Avengers for a few issues. Her most recent appearance was actually pages of Captain Marvel of all things, a book that came out just like a month ago. Yes, seriously. So yeah, so Dana still physically appears, which is good for her. As for Carla Softon, well, she became part of the Dark Avenger stuff. Yes, she basically was part of that stuff. But as of recently, you probably think, okay, has she appeared like, what was the most recent appearance to date? Avengers Unlimited Defending comic. Yep, so we're thinking we're talking about comes to this run, especially as the book becomes renamed the Dark Avengers. Yeah, which I'll get to more than that, but as for these issues of Thunderbolts, they're awesome. I give these issues of Thunderbolts, these 12 issues, a 10 out of 10. They're really good. Jed Parker does an absolute great job with these issues. Alright, next up, we're going to jump over to Doctor Strange Epic Collection Volume 1. But we're not going to talk about the whole trade per se, because I have technically reviewed most of this trade already. We're just going to talk about Strange Tales 142 to 146. Of course, these are Stan Lee and Steve Ditko issues. Most of these issues basically just have Doctor Strange basically just working with the ancient one. More Steve Ditko, awesome Steve Ditko stuff here. There's some action per se. It's almost like Nick Fury's have more interesting in this. Yeah, and basically with issue 143, Roy Thomas takes over the writing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he takes over the writing of this issue, and I think he becomes the final writer of this book. Before it changed names to Strange, from Strange Tales to Doctor Strange, which continue numbering. So you could say basically just Doctor Strange versus Umar in these issues. Yep, that's simply basically what it is. A couple issues, of course, reunites with Clea. It's mostly just continuing the story involved with the Dark Dimension. Of course, you have Mr. Rasputin. We have about that. More stuff happening in his mansion. Not a lot of stuff happens in the course of these issues per se, but they're still pretty good. Yep. They call The End at Last, where he encounters eternity. Yes, I believe this was... Let me take a look. I think this may have been Eternity's very first appearance. Let me take a look here. Let's see. No. This was not Eternity's first appearance. It was 138. But it's definitely appearance of Eternity. Yep. We have this guy called Mr. Rasputin. He didn't really appear very much at all. Not really, no. I mean, he first appeared in 145. After he appeared in Giant Size Defenders number 1, which I'm sure is probably like a reprint of it. Let's see. Yeah, it's just a reprint. So, you could say his next physical appearance was in Mutant Misavengers of Cloak and Dagger. Yeah, that was his next physical appearance after that. Then he, of course, popped up in, get this, New Avengers 53, in issue 5 of New Avengers Volume 2, issue of 3 of S.H.I.E.L.D., and Doctor Strange number 1. Where I think he was one of people suspected of killing Doctor Strange, but really he wasn't. Not really. But the kids' issues are just of course, we have stuff with, well, we have supposedly an end of one of the many rounds of fighting between Doctor Strange and Dormammu. Classic issues these are, 10 out of 10. Okay, so that's it, particular review, and that's it for videos tonight. Stay tuned for more videos, possibly tomorrow. Okay, next video.